The first thing I want to ask you is what are your anticipations about the prospect of the Greek government combating the extremist right-wing party of Golden Dawn and all this fascism and anti-Semitism story happened right now in Athens, in Greece? What's your expectations?
Well, first of all, I mean, let's be clear, we're shocked that in a country that was occupied by the Nazis, that fought valiantly against the Nazis, that Winston Churchill cited as one of the most heroic resistance movements, that Franklin Roosevelt, the American president, also cited in terms of the heroism of Greece, that today we could even talk about a neo-Nazi party in a country which fought heroically and where up to 10% of the entire population died in the Second World War. So that's quite shocking. Secondly, the best answer to the Golden Dawn Party, it seems to us, is the success of Greece. There's no easy answer to Greece's problems. The Golden Dawn may want Greeks to believe there are easy answers. It's all the bankers' fault, it's all Brussels' fault, it's all the immigrants' fault, it's all the Jews' fault. That's not the truth. The truth is that Greece is in a serious economic crisis and it's going to take time to get out of it. But as it gets out of it, and this Greek government is determined to help Greece get out of it, then the Golden Dawn is going to lose the case for why it should be supported. That's the ultimate answer. I don't believe that the majority of Greeks, and even I would believe the majority of those who say they support the Golden Dawn Party, are actually supporting a neo-Nazi, anti-Semitic, xenophobic movement. They're supporting a party that allegedly gives them food when they're hungry, and gives them protection when they feel unsafe, and gives them simplistic answers to how to get out of the current challenge. The Greeks are too smart for that at the end of the day, and I think the truth will ultimately defeat the Golden Dawn Party.
Do you think that it is happening, that the Golden Dawn finds the space to undertake actions like this you described because the state or the political system in Greece is not able to do what it has to do, and there is a space for a Golden Dawn Party to get presented as a protector of the public interest or all of this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, the argument of the Golden Dawn Party, and it's not for me to make the argument for the Golden Dawn Party, not at all. But the argument is the mainstream parties got us into this mess. How can we expect the very same people who got us into this mess to get us out of the mess? The answer is, again, I believe, as an outsider, but a friend of Greece who's visited many, many times, and who cares, that political parties can evolve. People can change. And the leadership of Greece today, I believe, understands the problem, understands the depth of the problem, and understands there are no easy, quick fixes. And it's been painful for the Greek people. I mean, even on my visits, one sees, I mean, how many empty stores, how many apartments are unable to be sold, or the poverty level, or the unemployment level, the number of young people who are leaving to go to other EU countries, or for that matter to Australia or Canada, because they don't see a prospect. I don't underestimate the problem. But the Golden Dawn Party, like other extremist parties in European history, doesn't provide the answers. It exploits the problem for its own purposes, and it seeks the scapegoats, which are the convenient tool for an extremist party. They're the ones responsible. You know, get rid of them and you get rid of the problems. Rubbish. I think the current leadership in Greece, the political leadership in Greece, understands the difficult road ahead. And I think they've shown courage. And they've distanced themselves from earlier governments, which may have been digging the hole. This government is not digging the hole. This government is trying to fill the hole.
And are you satisfied by the fact that the Greek Prime Minister has put, as we are told, in his first priorities, this process of unrooting this extremism, this kind of extremism in the country?
Well, Prime Minister Samaras, speaking to AJC here in New York in September, made it very clear that his goal as a Greek is, and I use his term, to deracinate the Golden Dawn Party. I mean, he himself as a Greek is ashamed of the emergence of a neo-Nazi party in a country in which his family were among those defending Greece against the occupying Nazis. His vision of Greece is not of an anti-Semitic, xenophobic country, nor is his vision of Greece, as I understand it, as a country at odds with the European Union. To the contrary. So, the Golden Dawn tries to suggest that Prime Minister Samaras is doing these things against them because of outside interests and outside pressure. Read into that what you want. Rubbish. Total, complete rubbish. Samaras is a proud Greek who doesn't want the history and the character of Greece to be stained and tarnished by a neo-Nazi movement that claims to speak for Greece today. That's why he's doing this. That's why he's trying to deracinate, because he sees them not even as a political party, but as a criminal element.
And of course, I think that you've heard the claim saying that maybe you and many other external factors are pushing him to unroot the Golden Dawn Party. This is the route.
But I have news. I have news for you and your viewers. The Prime Minister of Greece today does not need outsiders. Again, as a proud Greek, I believe he's embarrassed. He's ashamed that this criminal element with neo-Nazi trappings that resorts to violence and intimidation and scapegoating, that this group is allowed to damage the reputation of his beloved country.
There are many saying that we are in front of a new era of this kind of relations between the three countries. Do you agree? And if yes, in which framework this era is based?
So my answer to you is nay.
Nay.
I agree. Yes, absolutely, I agree. This is long overdue, in my judgment. I've been involved with Greece, Cyprus, and Israel as a triangle for over 30 years, since the early 1980s. And I believe 30 years ago that it was a natural triangle based on common values, but it took a number of years for reality to catch up with the vision.
And maybe this happened because of political reasons as well?
Oh, I
Not
think
only because of
things don't happen by accident. The thinking has evolved in Athens, the thinking has evolved in Nicosia, and the thinking has evolved in Jerusalem.
Since when do you think it is the start of this new way of thinking? Maybe?
Well, I think there are different starting points. You can point, for example, you can point to the energy dimension. And say, for example, well, now that you have these massive natural gas findings, particularly in Cyprus and Israel, and by the way, with some prospect for Greece. And you also have the question of how to transport natural gas from Israel and Cyprus to the European continent, in which Greece is an obvious transit point. So you have the whole energy dimension, which creates one set of common interests. A second set of common interests is the instability in the Eastern Mediterranean, the Arab upheaval. You know, whereas once upon a time, and I remember the 1980s, Andreas Papandreou, who thought that Greece's interests were with countries like Syria and Lebanon and Libya. Well, 30 years later, I'm not so sure that Greece's interests are with Syria or Hezbollah-dominated Lebanon or chaotic Libya. So you have that dimension that has changed from a certain stability an authoritarian stability, but a certain stability in the Eastern Mediterranean, to profound instability, not just about the present, but the future. Suddenly, democratic Israel, democratic Cyprus, and democratic Greece look like a very natural grouping in that region.
And what is the role of Turkey in this triangle?
Well, I think as well, from our point of view, Turkey is heading in an unfortunate direction. And that's become very evident, not just to us at AJC, and not just to observers in Athens and Nicosia, but frankly to observers in Washington and in Brussels and elsewhere. The recent direction of Prime Minister Erdogan has been profoundly troubling to many. So the question of Turkey's orientation and its reliability has come into question. From the perspective of the United States and many European partners, the triangle of Israel, Cyprus, and Greece suddenly looks even more appealing. Now, to be sure, Greece has its economic challenges, Cyprus has its economic challenges, and Israel is a country of only 8 million people, not 80, but 8. But still, there's a certain comfort, a certain security in the knowledge that you have in this region 3 countries that you can count on. And in today's world, with all of the instability, especially in the region we're discussing, to be able to count on 3 countries as your partners, friends, and allies means a lot. So I think that all helps explain the change. And by the way, I would only add, once Greece opened itself to Israel, for example, it became obvious the Greeks and Israelis have a lot in common. So 3, 4, 500,000 tourists come from Israel to Greece, and they all feel at home. The food, the music, the climate, the landscape, the architecture, they feel at home. More and more Greeks are going to Israel. They feel at home. So the blockage that had existed because of political barriers has come down. And what they're discovering is, you know what? Not only do we need each other, we like each other. We have things in common. That's a pretty good foundation for a relationship.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ.